Good Friday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And a lot like yesterday, wasn't it? A few more clouds, though, as we take a look way up north. This is our Billy Goat Sky-Fi Tower camera, and this is up in Okanagan County. That is where the Methow River joins the Columbia River. You can see Pateros kind of at the bottom of your screen, Brewster a little bit farther up your screen and towards the middle there, and a lot of clouds up that way. More clouds north than there were here in the Wenatchee area today, but all of us enjoy temperatures in the low to mid 50s, but things will begin to change beginning tonight and especially into Saturday, especially in the Cascades, where we could see maybe up to a foot of snow at both Snoqualmie Pass and Stevens Pass. That's tonight, overnight, and into our Saturday. So if you are traveling that way, man, it could be really treacherous at times, especially early tomorrow morning. You can also see Cle Elum with an inch or so. Coles Corner, also 1 to 2 inches of snow is possible. So we will talk more about this winter storm moving in and more weather coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. A bill in the state legislature that would make sex education mandatory for all students in Washington schools moved a step closer to becoming law on Thursday. A Lake Chelan business leader has stepped forward to run for an open seat on the Chelan County Board of Commissioners. And the Omak School District didn't need to look far for its new superintendent. We'll tell you who it is coming up. But first, we begin tonight. 3 Wenatchee residents are accused of illegally hunting black bear using bait to lure the animals. State Fish and Wildlife officers arrested 60-year-old John L. Markle in August of 2019 for allegedly guiding 40-year-old Aaron McCabe to a site he baited to attract bear up Number 2 Canyon. Investigators said Markle stuffed a plastic barrel with 60 pounds of donuts and bread, and McCabe shot and killed a bear that was drawn to that bait. Prosecutors filed charges last month. The offense is a gross misdemeanor, and both men must appear now in Chelan County District Court in March. A third man, Logan Franklin, who's 34, was also charged with videos and text messages allegedly showing him adding bait to the barrel. Wildlife agents say Markle hasn't held a hunting license in 8 years, but continued to shoot wildlife on his property. He previously pleaded guilty to poaching a deer back in 2012. Bear meat seized during that investigation was donated to charity. A bill in the state legislature that would make sex education mandatory for all students in Washington schools moved a step closer to becoming law on Thursday. NCWLIFE's Cal Fitzsimmons has more.
A controversial bill to require sex education for all students, kindergarten through 12th grade in Washington state, was narrowly approved by the House Education Committee on Thursday. Republican committee members Mike Steele of Chelan and Alex Ybarra of Quincy voted against the bill, which passed by a 9-8 vote. It now goes to the full House. Senate Bill 5395 already has been approved in the Senate, but the House Education Committee added 2 amendments, meaning if approved in the House, the differences will need to be worked out with the Senate. 12th District Senator Brad Hawkins voted against the bill in the Senate, but did get an amendment passed that would allow parents to opt their children out of the classes. He also held an online poll that showed people in his district strongly opposed mandatory K-12 sex education. The House Education Committee rejected 9 other amendments, including several supported by Steele and Ybarra. One of those was to remove kindergarten through 6th graders from the instruction.
I believe this amendment that we're offering does in fact reaffirm that we are teaching those things in these younger grades. And we've heard from parents, again, all over the state that said, we're not necessarily against teaching our students, giving our students the tools they need to be successful and to be able to navigate adult life, but let's wait until they're mature enough and old enough to receive that information in a way that makes sense for them. And I think that that's simply what this amendment says. You know, if you're in kindergarten, you have things you need to learn about being a good human, being a compassionate human, learning not to bully folks. Those are all things that we should be spending our time on. So this amendment simply says we're going to unwrap comprehensive sexual education from grades K through 6. Makes a lot of sense, and I think you'll have a lot more support from parents all over the state and members of this committee if we can make this amendment stick. So I urge a yes vote.
Another rejected amendment would have required parents opt their children in for the instruction. Several legislators, including Steele and Ybarra, said that would lead to more engaged parents.
I think this is a great idea. As a school board member for 8 years in my hometown, I've always wanted the parents to know more about what we do at the school district, what we teach, what all the rules are. And if you do opt in, as a parent, I would think that you'd want to know what you're opting into. And so that would make certain parents need to learn about what their kids are being taught. So if you opt in, the parents are going to have to learn what they're opting into. And again, they'll know more, and they'll know what their kids are going to be taught. So I think the opt-in idea is wonderful.
This is Cal Fitzsimmons reporting for NCWLIFE.
A Lake Chelan business leader has stepped forward to run for an open seat on the Chelan County Board of Commissioners. Tiffany Gehring, Chief Operating Officer of the Lake Chelan Chamber of Commerce, says she'll seek to replace Doug England, the retiring commissioner who's represented County District 3 since 2008. Gehring, a Brewster native, works alongside State Representative Mike Steele, who's the Chamber Executive Director. She says she hopes to help the county find solutions on issues like land use, tourism, and mental health. In other news, the Omak School District didn't need to look far for its new superintendent. The school board announced on Thursday that the job has been offered to current Assistant Superintendent Michael Porter. Current Superintendent Eric Swanson is retiring in June after 7 years with the district. Once his contract details have been finalized, Porter, who has 16 years of classroom experience and 12 years as an administrator, will take over as superintendent on July 1st. He was one of 2 finalists for the job, along with the assistant superintendent of the Meade School District in Spokane. Coming up next, the presidential primary ballot in Washington state is either confusing a lot of people or they're protesting the requirement to pick a political party. The Chelan PUD recently received the 2019 American Cultural Resources Association Industry Award for its outstanding commitment to protecting cultural resources. And it was 85 years ago today that East Wenatchee became a town all of its own. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Are you like many who are lacking in their retirement plan but are skeptical to talk to an advisor? Are you concerned about where you should put your money or who to trust? At Solomon Financial, we are more about the people we serve than policies or products. We are a fee-based fiduciary with the mission of giving you the peace of mind so you can live the retirement of your dreams. If you have any of these questions or concerns, we'd welcome you to come see us.
AC Checker has new owners who put customer service first. When you have to get there on time, call fast, friendly, reliable AC Checker, 663-TAXI. AC Checker has the industry's only on-time or it's free guarantee. Conditions apply. Call AC Checker, 663-TAXI to schedule your cab or schedule online at acchecker.com. Call American Classic Taxi, 663-TAXI. That's 663-8294.
Coming home should never be a chore. Let Mary Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Mary Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Mary Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today, 509-663-1710.
Welcome back. In another news, the presidential primary ballot in Washington state is either confusing a lot of people or they're protesting the requirement to pick a political party. Either way, as of Friday morning, 22,950 ballots had been rejected statewide because a party preference was not selected on the ballot's return envelope. That's out of 572,131 ballots that have been cast thus far. In Chelan County, 284 out of 7,594 ballots returned so far have been rejected because a political party was not selected. Voters have until March 10th to get their ballots in. The Chelan County PUD is being honored for working with local native tribes while maintaining its power grid. In 2014, rather than replace power poles in Peshastin Pinnacles State Park, the PUD consulted with the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation and moved power lines out of the park altogether. The stone formations at the Pinnacles have cultural meaning for the area's native inhabitants. In October, the American Cultural Resources Association gave the PUD its industry award for that collaborative effort. In other news, it was 85 years ago today that East Wenatchee became a town all its own. The population voted on this day in 1935 to incorporate by a tight margin, 48 votes in favor and 46 against. Art Lenhart became the town's first mayor, and the Works Progress Administration paid for its first sewer system. From those beginnings, East Wenatchee has grown to a population of more than 14,000 people. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
Winter is a great time to trade in your current hot tub. Turn your old hot tub into money with Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa's trade-in program. And with Blue Lagoon's home show pricing, you can save $500 to $1,000 off of any new artesian spa or take advantage of a free Bluetooth music experience. Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa recommends draining your hot tub every 3 months. Ask us about our drain and refill special for only $99. Stop on by Blue Lagoon Pool and Spa today.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. In tonight's features story, newly elected Leavenworth Mayor Carl Floria says he's hoping to find answers to the city's parking problems from data collected from new smart parking meters. The City Council has approved the use of the meters as part of an ongoing traffic study.
Every one of those parking spaces will have a sensor. We'll know exactly how long people are parking in them. We can set those. You know, we will put a limit. We're talking about a 3-hour limit because that's what we found is the typical time that people would spend at one time doing shopping or visiting, you know, the downtown. If they're going to stay longer, I mean, you can go to the surface lots, the big lots. But if you want to park right downtown in the middle of, you know, the action, so to speak, we put some limits on that. And then we'll really find out what our parking needs are. So.
Right. Is there a possibility that you might be able to develop some kind of a shuttle service with
shuttle
outside
services,
parking? And
yep, shuttle services are a consideration. The other thing, you know, we hear all the time from locals, we don't even bother going downtown because we can't park.
Right.
Well, you know, one of the possibilities that these smart meters will allow us to do is, you know, potentially give some parking away to locals, you know, allow them to go down and use them because you can use, basically they have smart cards that you can use on these meters.
Okay.
So, you know.
If you're a local, that's.
So if you're a local, we can look at times and places where you will have access.
Mayor Floria says parking and traffic congestion are products of the city's growth as a tourist town. He says he senses a new atmosphere of public involvement in future land use decisions and cites specifically the response to plans to build an adventure theme park at the west entrance to town.
Operating with is just anything and everything. You know, it just felt like someone else was in control of that. And the residents just, you know, now realize, you know, we've got to take control, but we've got to get involved to do that. We can't just sit back and wait for things to happen.
No.
So we're doing that process. Our planning commission now is going to be looking at all those zonings to make sure that we don't just allow, even as conditional uses, things that we don't want, you know. So instead of, we need to get proactive. We can't just wait until there's a project that's already planned, because, you know, as we find out, if we have that opening and allow it, even, you know, with our conditional use process, it's really tough to say no.
Time now for a check of your North Central Washington weather forecast. Before we get to those details, as always, let's take a look outside our weather window. Moving way up north today, up into Okanagan County, and our Billy Goat Sky-Fi Tower camera looking down at the Methow River as it feeds into the Columbia. Here's Pateros right here. Brewster a little farther up in the middle of our screen. Mount Kalispell right there on the Canadian border inside Canada. A lot more clouds up that way than we had here in North Central Washington today, but still it was a nice day all over the area. Temperatures in the lower to mid 50s unofficially here in the Wenatchee area. We were more in the mid 50s, 55 unofficially, and that's well above once again where we should be for this time of year. 47 is now our normal high. 30 degrees is where we started, and that is exactly where we should be for this time of year as far as low temperatures go. Record high 62. We weren't all that far away from that. That was set back in 1968, and our record low 9 degrees set back in 1993. Sunrise 6:44, sunset at 5:44. Let's take a peek now at how our weekend's going to shape up, at least the first part of it on Saturday. Tomorrow we thought would be kind of a rainy day all week, kind of changing our mind now. I'll get to that in a second, but it looks like it will be dry for Saturday, just windy. Temperatures not bad, 54 Moses Lake, 53 Ephrata, 51 in Quincy. We will drop back down into the 40s. A cold front will move through tonight, and that's what will kick those winds up for Saturday. 47 in Chelan and 48. Once again, the high temperature for you folks in Omak. Taking a look at our surface loop now, we'll show you why tonight. As that cold front moves through, it's right here where we're going to see some very windy conditions. We're talking 10 to 20 miles an hour here in the Wenatchee area. A 30% chance of rain. Some of that right here will spill over the Cascades and into our area. For Saturday, it should be even windier. 25-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible for Wenatchee. We're talking 30 to 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts for you folks in the Columbia Basin. Dry Saturday. Sunny then on Sunday as we end our weekend. You can see a ridge of high pressure bringing all kinds of clear skies in the west. Less wind and mild for Sunday. Once again, high temperatures in the upper 40s. And then we warm back up into the lower 50s on Monday as we get back into a more southwesterly flow of air. But once again, a 30% chance of rain showers. There are showers riding up in the backside of this high pressure ridge that's out in the Pacific, and that will keep us kind of wet on Tuesday. In fact, our best chance for precipitation will be on Tuesday at 40%. And notice these isobars very tightly packed once again. We could also see a pretty windy day on Tuesday. For Wednesday, partly cloudy as we get into midweek. Here's another storm system, though, wrapping itself up just west of British Columbia, and that's bringing a lot of rain and snow into the western part of British Columbia. That'll move our way, not on Thursday. We do have a 20% chance for maybe scattered showers, but a better chance then as we get into the end of next week. The good news out of all this, we're going to stay warm right into the 50s. So let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating and Cooling 7-day forecast. 34 beautiful degrees overnight tonight, and then a bit of a cool down, as I mentioned. Mostly sunny, windy, 49 the high temperature in the Wenatchee area tomorrow. Back to 50 on Sunday. It should be a beautiful end to our weekend, and then a kind of a wet start to our next work week. Monday and Tuesday, we'll see high temperatures in the low 50s. 30% chance of rain Monday, 40% on Tuesday, and then partly cloudy and mild for Wednesday and Thursday, with high temperatures then back into the mid-50s. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
You want to help others. You need a solid career. You can have both. with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, stop by our campus at 595 Grant Road across from Safeway, or visit chartercollege.edu.
This is Caitlin Hedersheet, the producer of the NCWLIFE magazine. Each week, I'm bringing you a look behind the scenes of the faces, places, and events that make North Central Washington the place we call home. Tune in every weekday for an in-depth look at a new topic each week. From local artists in their studios to businesses breaking barriers that might surprise you and everything in between. Join me on the NCWLIFE magazine right here on the NCWLIFE channel.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Friday to you. The Wenatchee Wild will use the extra day on the calendar Saturday to leap into the BCHL playoffs against the Vernon Vipers. Game 1 of the best-of-7 series will begin tomorrow night, 7:05 at the Town Toyota Center. Game 2 Sunday at 7:05. Games 3 and 4 will be up in Vernon, and if necessary, the series would return to Wenatchee next Friday. Wenatchee went 2-4 against the Vipers this season, but voice of the Wild, Arch Ecker, says the Wild are playing their best hockey right now, and they won't change anything in their approach against Vernon.
They're an opponent that we're somewhat familiar with. I mean, granted, we did play them a couple times early. We also played them a couple of times late, back on just Valentine's Day right here in this building, and we had some pretty good success in that game. And we played them a couple weeks prior in their building. So I think, we know what we're getting into. I think they do as well. And as far as preparation, at this time of year, there's not a whole lot of X's and O's that are going to change. I mean, the guys' systems have been beat into them over months, and now it's just a matter of execution, staying sharp, keeping the bodies loose, getting healthy, which has been a big key for this team. We've had a lot of guys miss a lot of games, and we're starting to see some of those bodies start to come back, and that's going to bode well for us.
The quiet young man, by the way, to Arch's right there was Brett Chorsky. You can see the entire interview on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on our website. Tickets just $10 for every seat for the games this weekend. Again, that's Saturday and Sunday at 7:05. On the Les Schwab College basketball scoreboard last night, Gonzaga clinched its 8th straight West Coast Conference title with a 94-59 win over San Diego. Philip Petrusev led 5 players in double figures with 21. Mason Peatling had 17 points and 9 rebounds. Eastern Washington got past Southern Utah 69-51. And Jaron Lucas came off the bench to lead Central Washington with 23 points as the Wildcats beat St. Martin's 71-65. On the Les Schwab women's basketball scoreboard, Southern Utah edged Eastern Washington 70-67. And Central Washington beat St. Martin's 70-60. Coming up on the women's college schedule, Washington plays at number 17 Oregon State tonight at 6, while Washington State travels to number 3 Oregon at 8. Tomorrow it's Eastern Washington hosting Northern Colorado at noon, followed by number 11 Gonzaga at Portland at 2, while Central Washington plays at Seattle Pacific. Then on Sunday, Pac-12 schedule swaps as Washington plays at Oregon, while Washington State plays at Oregon State. Those games tip up at noon. Men's weekend schedule begins tonight in Seattle, where the Washington Huskies host Washington State. That'll be at 6 o'clock on FS1. Tomorrow finds Central Washington at Seattle Pacific at 4:15. Eastern's at Northern Colorado at 6, and number 3 Gonzaga hosts St. Mary's tomorrow night at 7 on ESPN2. The WIAA Regional High School Basketball Tournament gets underway tonight. On the girls' side, Riverside Christian faces Clallam Bay tonight at 6 at Tumwater High School in a loser-out game. In the 2B tournament tomorrow, Waterville Mansfield faces Northwest Christian at Wenatchee High School at noon and a loser-out contest. Brewster is at University High in Spokane tomorrow, facing Colfax at noon, also a loser-out scenario. In the 1A tournament, Okanagan plays against Meridian at Wenatchee High School tomorrow at 2 o'clock. It's a must-win situation for either team to advance to state. The 4A tournament finds Moses Lake close to home at Big Bend Community College, taking on Decatur at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. It's a lower seed game, so the winner goes to state. Loser's season is over. And at 6 tomorrow night, Cashmere takes on Nooksack Valley in the 1A tournament at Wenatchee High School. We'll have that game live on the NCWLIFE channel. I'll be courtside with your play-by-play. Reminder, that's a TV-only game. If you want to watch it online, you'll have to go to the NFHS network to do so. Here's the boys' schedule. schedule for the weekend. It begins tonight with 2 games at Wenatchee High School. First in the 2B tournament, Brewster takes on Life Christian Academy at 6 o'clock in a seeding game for state. Both teams advance to Spokane. The late game is a 1B contest between Sunnyside Christian and Elmira Cooley Heartline. The 8 o'clock game is a loser-out contest with the winner advancing to State B. Coming up tomorrow, Omak finds itself in Issaquah facing Seattle Academy in a 1A tournament at 2 o'clock. Both teams will advance to Yakima and State next week. Kashmir boys play against Kingsway Christian tomorrow at Wenatchee High School at 4 o'clock. We'll have that live on the NCWLIFE channel with Grant Olson on the play-by-play. Kingsway was the runner-up to Zilla in last year's 1A state title game. Both teams will advance to the state tournament next week in Yakima. Eastmont Wildcats play in the 4A tournament at Tumwater High School at 4 o'clock against Olympia tomorrow. It's a must-win situation for the Wildcats if they hope to advance to the state tournament in the Tacoma Dome next week. Well, congratulations to Cascade's Hunter Reinhardt, WIAA Athlete of the Week. The Kodiak senior finished the season 26-0 by winning the 285-pound state 1A championship last weekend. That was at MAC Classic 32 in the Tacoma Dome. It was his second consecutive state title, defeating the same opponent each time. Well, the Mariners were 0-2 in split squad action in Cactus League play yesterday. The White Sox edged Seattle 6-5. Caleb Raleigh went 1-for-3 with a 2-run home run. Jacob Fraley also had a homer, while L.J. Newsom started and went 2 innings on the mound, allowing no runs, 2 hits, and 2 strikeouts. In the other split squad action in Peoria, San Francisco came from behind to beat Seattle 5-4. Shed Long did what he could offensively with an RBI double.
Here's a pitch swung on, driven deep to right. Right fielder going over into the corner, drops down in front of the track. 1 run scores to tie it at 2-2. That's Bishop. And Siri is held at third. RBI double Shed Long. We got a 2-2 ball game here in the 5th.
That's Dave Sims on the play-by-play. Seattle starter Logan Gilbert went 2 strong innings, which drew the praise of Mariner manager Scott Service.
Gilbert was really good, much better than the last time he pitched in this ballpark. So you can see how he's come along and a lot of confidence. Really good fastball, got to break him all over the plate. That was great to see. Another good outing by Delaplane. He continues to roll along, and Johan Ramirez got some kind of special arm. And he struck out the side today out there. So pitching was really, happy with that. He got away from us a little bit late. Fletch struggled some there, but offensively, I thought JP swung the bat really well today. Good at bats there. Seager on some balls, so Shed Long again, and Kelnick and Julio. These guys show up every day ready to play. So not the way we wanted to end, but good ball game. Got a lot out of it.
Seattle traveled to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks today. That's a look at sports news. We'll see you tomorrow at Wenatchee High School. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Eric. And let's check in now with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up Monday morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Of course, we get a bonus day tomorrow. We will be at Wenatchee High School. Don't forget, we'll have the boys' game, Kashmir boys' game at 4 o'clock, the Kashmir girls' game at 6 o'clock. Looking forward to that. Join me on Monday. We'll have highlights of those 2 games. Plus, we'll be talking wild hockey when we get to sports. We'll have your weather forecast, your news, everything you need to know to start your day the live and local way. We'll see you Monday morning, 7 a.m. for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Grant, back to you.
Thank you a lot very much, Dan. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us, and have a great weekend.
With TV advertising, what we want to do is more deeply connect with the community.
People spot me in different parts around North Central, Costco and Wenatchee, say, hey, you're the pizza guy. And so they wouldn't know that if it weren't for the TV commercials we've done.
We've been here so long that people already know who we are and what we do, but to have that image flash on their television screen as opposed to just hearing it in the radio or seeing it in the newspaper. I just love the fact that we can actually put our finger on when a customer comes in and says, I saw your ad.
It's becoming increasingly difficult in this digital age to know where are your customers listening or watching, because I watch all the different channels that they watch too, like Cooking Channel, History Channel, and so it was wonderful to be able to be on there.
I would say that if you want to do business in Wenatchee, then you should connect with the people of Wenatchee, and there's no better way to do that than with NCWLIFE.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to check out the NCW Movie Guide to keep up on what movies are playing in our town.